What is up guys, my name is the Eagle Soars, as you know, and you're watching some Battlefield 3 gameplay. This time I'm back on the console where I belong, some would say, away from the PC. Last time I made a Battlefield 3 video, it was a live commentary over on the PC, so going back to my my roots, my bread and butter, Battlefield 3 on the console and a post-commentary to go with it. Couldn't get the sound off this gameplay, the sound was completely messed up, I apologise for that, it's my fault. I will try and fix that for the next one, but for now, what I do want to talk about is a topic that has attracted a lot of controversy in the YouTube gaming community, understandably so, but it's probably the second most discussed topic at the moment, other than obviously the Call of Duty Ghosts multiplayer reveal, the biggest non-event of the year as far as I'm concerned. A lot of controversy surrounding the fact surrounding certain YouTubers that were not invited to this reveal event. I don't know why people are surprised about that. I mean, come on. Call of Duty is no longer a game that targets to be the best game it possibly can be. It's a game where more money is spent on marketing than on development. It's a game that's specifically designed to appeal to the mass market and not to core gamers. So it makes sense that the only YouTubers and the only promoters that they invite to the event, because that's what YouTubers are in that when they get to that sort of size, they're promoters of your game. It makes sense that they wouldn't invite people who are going to play the multiplayer and say, oh my goodness, it has this problem and that problem and this problem, because that's bad publicity. I mean, I suppose you could say that no publicity is bad publicity, but it's bad publicity nevertheless. They want people there who will publicize their game in a positive light. So, you know, effectively for them, it's free marketing. So, God knows why people are shocked by that. Battlefield is a game that's developed for core gamers. At heart and first and foremost, Call of Duty is a game that's developed for the mass market and more than anything else. You know, you really think they care what you think? They don't. That's for sure. Moving on from that, this is some Grand Bazaar Rush. If you hadn't already been able to notice, Battlefield 3 has been out long enough that most of you will be able to tell that on first glance at the gameplay, but wanted to get that out there anyway. I'm using the L85 for most of the game with a heavy barrel. Everything else is self-explanatory. And I swap over to the tank later on. As many of you will know, Grand Bazaar has an enormous choke point up on that third base. So, you know, if you're trying to break down that base against a very good team, it's often incredibly difficult. You know, the enemy team can basically just set up in particular chokes around the map. And if they do that, they can hold you off for the entire game. So I hopped in the tank towards the middle, I suppose, of the push for the third base, excuse me, for the sake of trying to clear out those chokes and help my team push up, because they were just sitting up on that death corridor next to Objective Alpha on that third base, and we were making zero progress. Moving on to the topic at hand, I want to talk about HDCP. I want to explain what it is and why it's completely irrelevant, despite all the controversy that's surrounding it at this present time. So HDCP, what is it? Well, it stands for High Bandwidth Digital Content Protection, first of all. God knows why, but a lot of other YouTubers have decided that it actually stands for High Definition Copyright Protection. I don't really know why that is. A simple Google search will tell you otherwise. And I just wanted to get that out there before somebody calls me out and says, oh, no, I've heard that it stands for such and such another thing. It most definitely stands for High Bandwidth Digital Content Protection. No doubt about that. That is true. And do not call me out on that, because you're wrong if you do, as far as I'm concerned. What it is it's an encryption specification for digital video content that was developed initially by Intel. I apologize, this is going to get rather nerdy. I am a nerd, so you're going to have to get used to it, but it's going to get very neaky and geeky and high detailed, so bear with me with this one. I will get on to the important stuff, the good stuff later on. What it is it's a standard whereby a video output from an output device is encrypted with HDCP and then decrypted at a display device. And the purpose of it is to prevent the capture of encrypted video content via a capture card or something like that, with its main goal being the prevention of piracy. And the reasoning behind it, and the main purpose behind the development of this technology, is to protect film and television content from being pirated via a digital capture card that uses an HDMI throughput or something like that. And the key point here is that it's a digital technology, and I'll get onto that in a second. Now, obviously, out of the current consoles, only one of them has HDCP, and that's the PS3. And the reason for it is that it's a standard feature of Blu-ray players. Blu-ray players have HDCP built in as, you know, I think it's an international standards requirement or something along those lines. So the PS3 has it built in, the Xbox 360 doesn't. The end result of that is that with an Xbox 360, you can use any HDMI capture card you can buy on the market, be it the HD PVR2, the Elgato Game Capture, the famous Elgato Game Capture that everyone seems to be using nowadays, and the AVerMedia Game Capture line, and all those kinds of things that use HDMI throughputs. On the Xbox 360, no problem at all. On the PS3, you will not be able to capture from it. It will probably be able to display the video, but it will come up with an error message and say, sorry, it's encrypted with HDCP, you can't capture from it. And that's because the whole point of HDCP is to prevent the capture of video content. And obviously the main goal behind that is not to prevent the capture of games by any means, it's to prevent the capture of film. And the main way around that on the current generation, as many of you will know, is the HD PVR and things like that have this, is to use component, an analog output. And that does not have HDCP, so it's very easy to use that and capture game content and post it on YouTube. The controversy comes out of the fact that the PS4 has no such analog output. Now, of course, the Xbox One does have HDCP as well, but Microsoft have already confirmed that it's selective, and it does not encrypt game content with HDCP. Whereas the PlayStation 4 has had no such confirmation. So the controversy arises from, you know, is this the end of YouTube gaming for PS4 adopters? No, it's not. And here is why. First off, it's in, you know, as much as Sony Pictures are a big advocate of this technology, among others, Warner Brothers and things like that, you know, they're big advocates of HDCP because it protects their interests. It's fair enough. You know, a lot of people have tried to make out that Sony as a whole is a big advocate of this. It's Sony Pictures specifically. You know, Sony Computer Entertainment does not love HDCP. It's there because it's a requirement for them to include a Blu-ray drive in their product. It's nothing sinister is going on beyond that. And the reason why it's a complete non-issue is A, because Sony, it's in their best interest to make HDCP selective on the PlayStation 4, because there are so many ways around HDCP. That's the second point. If HDCP is not selective on the PS4, all anyone has to do is buy an HDMI to DVI converter and basically convert it into a DVI and then convert it back to HDMI again. And that strips the digital video signal of its HDMI. Fact. That's well documented. It's all over YouTube. And a lot of people have said, by the way, that the PlayStation 4 that workaround will not work because it will upgrade it to the latest version of HDCP for which that workaround does not exist. That's not so. Because as I mentioned earlier, HDCP is a technology that has to be embedded in both the display and the output device. And because the majority of modern TVs and monitors only support HDCP up to version 1.4 or so, which is the same version as PlayStation, the PlayStation 3 is 1.3, that's not going to happen. This workaround is still going to work. So, in conclusion, HDCP is a complete non-issue, and I don't know why all this controversy is surrounding it. At the very least, I expect Sony to make it selective, just like the Xbox One, to prevent people from getting the workarounds for HDCP, so that, you know, because you can use that workaround to pirate videos in the same way that you can use it to record games. So I expect that. But secondly, there are so many ways to get around HDCP that it's a complete non-issue. And the same workarounds that you can use on the PS3 will be available to use on the PlayStation 4 as well. So I wanted to clear that up. I'm a techno geek myself, so I know my way around that tech, and I don't really know why such controversy is surrounding it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave it a like. If you didn't, tell me why, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.